Good afternoon. I know this is the post-lunch session, as Vrinda said, but I promise that everyone sitting here on the stage is going to make it very insightful and interesting. I'm Shilpa Dhavale, Head of Sales India, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this wonderful panel discussion on TechM's investments on emerging technologies. It's my pleasure to also welcome the gentlemen who are sitting on the stage. Birendra Sen, Business Head BPS, onto my left. Manish Mangal, Global Business Head 5G and NS. Kunal Purohit, Chief Digital Services Officer. Mark Allardice, Global Chief Creative Officer, Born and XDS. And Sandeep Chandana, Chief Sustainability Officer. Before we understand more about each of these emerging technologies and the investments in them, let us go around the panel to get some expert insights on the markets that they all belong to, the respective domains and the markets. Let us start with Mark. If you could, Mark, share as part of the XDS group, what are the emerging trends that you think we are setting in 2023? Why will understanding that play a very important role for us, for our growth?
Thanks, Shilpa. I think one of the things we've seen or happening to evolve is, I think CX is really evolving to what we say is human-centered, purpose-driven experiences. And this is where I think during the pandemic, we saw that our clients and businesses have essentially, they've had to focus on suppliers, they've had to focus on employees. So it's not just been customers that they've had to look for. And I think this is where, for us, it's vital that we really understand the data to really make informed decisions with that data to create experiences. What are we building? How is that data supporting it? So I think it's definitely a trend that we'll see in terms of, more human-centric, designing for the human, less is more. And I think simplifying some of the, quite challenging process or apps or websites, I think you really have to think about the human at the end of the day that's using it. And I think the next one is what we call hyper-personalization. So this is essentially where a lot of brands, and again, especially during COVID, they wanted to allow certain things that would happen either in store or in a car or automotive showroom, and allow customers to configure these. So it meant that products were actually changing in terms of manufacturing, so that a customer could go onto a site, they could essentially choose their color, they could choose the dial of a watch, for example, they could lay out the interior for a car, for example. And I think more and more, consumers, they want to be unique, and they want to have that ability to adapt and change and create something for themselves. Another piece is we do a lot more, and as an agency or born XDS, an important part for us is actually the storytelling. And as part of that, if you're buying a product again that you might do in store, for example, where a sales associate may explain the product, explain the car and the values of that, it's very hard online. So this is where we're creating content that's educating the customer, that's really surfaced at the right time, and to enable them to drive conversion and go through their site. Similar with immersive journeys, I think Apple do a very good job when they launch a product, for example, of taking you from that email through this beautiful experience online as you're going through the site. And I think more and more of our clients and customers, they're wanting to do something similar. You should have that surprise and delight as you're going through a customer. And then the last one is data science and insights. Data has become key for us as a business to really transform and make informed decisions with that data. It can make a huge difference, and I'll touch upon a couple of case studies where we've taken that data and really analyzed it and made a huge difference for that client. So here's an example for a large US manufacturer where they were essentially marketing to very much a male-dominated market, and through the data we actually uncovered that actually one of their key influences was women, and it meant that we could actually change their whole marketing strategy, change all of the content that went through. And this made a huge difference for them, because essentially it's increasing revenue from just that key piece of data that they never thought about or had never analyzed before. And then the next one, very similarly, this is quite a famous luxury skincare brand, predominantly marketed, again, to women. What they really missed and hadn't done throughout their online and digital journey is really thought about the male customer, the gifter. I mean, this is a really expensive product, even $1,000 for a cream. But the fact that you can actually make so much revenue from someone gifting a particular product, and then we are able to actually change the whole architecture, the structure, everything from navigation to really enable that male category, that male segment that they'd never really thought about before. And they provide us loads of, obviously, research data, but it was only through the content that we discovered it. Thank you.
Great. The luxury skincare brand does seem very interesting to me, of course. Moving on, Kunal, over to you. What are your views on the changing trends in the digital services, and how do you think that is going to be in terms of the market that we have?
Sure, absolutely. And I think my answer manifests itself through the many demo showcases that you very passionately participated in the last couple of hours. Thank you for your time, inputs, feedback on all the demos that you saw. I think we have over the last year, we have written significant amount of new code to create new solutions. As an example, 1.6 million lines of new code written, which is 3 times more than what we have written in the last couple of years, 2 years before that. We have got inputs from market. We took inputs from customers as part of the customer advisory board that ensured that the solutions that we are creating enables them to transform and create business outcomes rather than solutions which are not going into production environment. So that's the sum and substance of where we are investing significantly. Many of those examples you saw in those demos. Essentially, a few summary items are on the large cloud opportunity. We are not just helping enterprises, migrate, modernize, and monetize, across the cloud stack, but we are also moving into industry cloud solutions, which means that we are able to bring technology components from discrete technology together to create a single, business outcome for customer in terms of either great customer experience, as Mark mentioned, or significant cost takeouts. We have also demonstrated a Blaze Tech suite of offerings, which also help customers manage cost better. Our Finoptico solution is perhaps one of the leading edge solutions in that domain. So that's on the cloud side. On AI, data AI and generative AI, quite a bit of discussion has happened since morning. Few things. We have created our own suite of offerings called Amplify that help deliver amplified business outcomes for customers. Many customers have said that they would like to move away from creating creating models to making sure that they are managed, deployed at an enterprise grade level. And therefore, our platforms like DataMine, GigWorks helps create democratization of AI across the enterprise and scale AI. On the generative AI side, we have created a platform that helps you not just understand the power of what generative AI could bring into the enterprise, but also experiment, create use cases, and across aspects of document, video, image, and explore business cases that can improve productivity from 20 to 40%. And I'm sure you would have seen some of those demos as well, right? The third and more critical one is cybersecurity. We have moved away from looking at cybersecurity as an enterprise security to focusing as the cybersecurity market broadly. Focusing on threat intel, response to cyber attacks, and also the enterprise side with significant new solutions. CP mentioned the partnership scale up. This is one area where we have significantly scaled our solutions with our partners and have been able to go to market significantly faster, creating higher value, creating secure enterprises, enabling enterprises to move to the DevSecOps model. And last but not the least, which is the emerging technologies, where we are significantly investing in technologies like metaverse, blockchain, quantum. We have a lab that enables enterprises to create use cases and then deploy them for scale in the enterprise. I think one example that we saw outside was how a large real estate company is using metaverse to demonstrate a sample flat in the metaverse so that buyers don't have to go to see a physical sample flat, and that demonstrate how the business model has changed. They can help potential buyers take decisions faster compared to actually going and seeing a physical sample flat. So that's an example of where some of the leading edge companies are, leading edge technologies are coming together for us for solutions.
Great. That's a wide range of offerings that we have under this bucket. Kunal, thank you so much for this. Moving on, Biren, BPS has been a huge success story for us this year, and as it continues to grow, what would be the market trends or the market behavior that you are actually anticipating, and how is it going to impact our growth for the coming years?
Sure, Shilpa. Thank you. I think that's a consistent theme you'll see across all the sections where we are betting big on CX, and so even for the BPS business, I think we lead with CX, and so continue to demonstrate leadership there. If you look at analyst reports, etc., we're positioned as leaders. But what we've done through acquisitions and through our internal investments is stitched an end-to-end capability, right from design of new CX journeys to, if you have one, how do you transform that for better outcomes, as well as, operating them end-to-end in a machine-first way, so that, it's not just about putting more and more people to run your operations, but using technology in a big way. And we'll continue to do that investment. That business is almost half of our portfolio right now. But what we've done very smartly is, while CX is growing ahead of the industry, we've diversified our portfolio, and we've done that in a very, very smart way. One, follow the money. So, technologies like metaverse and now generative AI, for example, we're going after the picks and shovels that are required to make metaverse happen. And that's a lot of human in the loop kind of work that we are picking up, along with technology enabled business. Similarly, not many people know that almost 10% of the portfolio is actually consulting and CX tech implementation for our customers, which is extremely important as customers move their contact center and customer operations technology onto the cloud. And finally, I think what customers are looking for more of is a partner like us having a skin in the game when it comes to business outcomes, and that's been one of the key drivers for us, both in terms of de-risking the customer's movement from one supplier to the other, but at the same time giving us opportunity to actually earn more margin as we deliver better outcomes for customers. So I think those trends will continue, and we reasonably confident that we'll be ahead of industry growth in the coming years.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that, Biren. I am for sure looking forward to leveraging all our BPS offerings as we focus on our India market and Indian customers. So we'll keep coming to you for that. Over to you, Manish. You are just back from our Mobile World Congress at Barcelona, and really keen to know your thoughts on our on the impact of 5G on the markets, on our business and growth strategy as we move forward and head into the new year.
Thank you, Shilpa. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me share my insights from the lens of CXOs, whether it's a CFO, CNO, or a CTO. Now, we have met with more than 300 of them in the last 6 months. And fundamentally, they bring down 3 priorities for themselves. And this is what they are challenging us to do. This is what they are focusing internally as well. Number 1 is simplify. Simplify operations. There is a tremendous amount of complexity that has been built into the network over the period of time. And hence, if you really want to scale the future, scale new applications, enable the monetization, it's very, very important to simplify the network and its operations today. So that's number 1 priority. Help simplify the network operations, take the cost out of that so that we have the ability to invest. The second thing is modernize and modernize the tech stack. While we continue to look for ways to simplify the entire tech stack from 5G, which is not just about a radio or a core network technology anymore. It's also about how those networks are managed. It's also about how digital stack is created on top of it to enable the experience for the customer. So 5G is really an entire stack from the bottom to the customer experience. Hence, modernization of the full stack is a very, very important priority for everybody. And the third one is, how do I monetize the investments that I'm making in 5G? And that's been number one theme across MWC recently, which basically suggests that while I continue to invest in 5G to create better customer experience for my consumers, how do I take 5G investments and generate new revenue opportunities towards enterprises? And we are very excited about these three themes because these three themes have been at the center of how we have been looking at our business as well, which means that what can we do to help take the network operations, build in AI tools to drive less people-centric operations, more automation and tool-centric operations. How do we help them bring 5G to life, not only just to build a network, but also build the kind of use cases that allow them to monetize and take it to the enterprises. And you have seen some of that experience center outside. There is a whole lot behind that as well. But as I look at, again, Shilpa, you asked the question, what does it mean? What they're looking to do is every CXO is looking to unlock the value of the network asset which is there. They have made tremendous amount of investments by simplifying, modernizing, and monetizing. And we are right in the center of those three initiatives by them.
Wonderful, Manish. I think the three themes that you talked about absolutely resonate with what we've been hearing has been happening at the Mobile World Congress as well, and what everyone has been talking about. So that's great to know. Sandeep, over to you. What do you see as the market potential for our ESG and sustainability solutions? How are customers really reacting to all of this, and how is the market looking like?
Yeah, thanks, Shilpa, and very good afternoon, everyone. Shilpa, before I go to your question and answer that, see, there are 2 or 3 facts which are really coming out. One is there was a perception that we would never see a climate change in our lifetime. So there was no urgency which was seen. But your city, Pune, if you remember 18th of October last year, you saw the floods. We were discussing that. The place where I come from, Gurgaon, or Delhi, we saw 49 degrees or 50 degrees around. Imagine if it is around 50, 55, what would be the things? So the perception across has changed that climate change has to be part of the board discussions, have to be part in terms of urgency, what the companies are doing. And same is happening in terms of regulations. We have seen EU regulations coming in, SFDR. We have seen Indian regulation, BR. Most of you would be aware that BRSR is now very important for all of us. So while as a Tech Mahindra, as a Chief Sustainability Officer, we were doing a lot of jobs internally, a lot of stuff internally, which was recognized by the world. And then most of our customers came back and said that whatever you're doing, Tech Mahindra, whatever you're doing, can you do that for us? So that's a time when we thought that let's get into this. And we saw an opportunity. We simplified our offerings. And on 22nd September 22, we launched our offerings. This is specifically on ESG. And simple. No complications here. We said first step is baselining. We have put up a consulting offering there, saying that we will baseline, help the customers do their roadmap. Now, when you have the roadmaps, you would also look at what are the solutions that will help customers meet those targets in the roadmap. It would be net zero, it would be social aspects, it will be governance aspects. So we have put up IoT-based solutions like energy management. We have put renewable energy management systems. So second bucket which you are looking here is the solutions which are helping customers meet their targets. norms getting very difficult, reporting becoming complex day by day. So we said Tech Mahindra is the only company in the world which is reporting on 4 or 5 frameworks. That is TCFD, GRIS, SASB, SDGs, IR. So we said, let's leverage that. So we said we'll help our customers even with the reporting. And that's a last offering that we said. The deals have started flowing in. We have started working for a leading American bank. We are working for a government railway company. That's for energy management. So like this, a lot of these deals are really coming in on a regular basis. As I see the market potential, which is there on the, which is almost touching, say, for the consulting itself, about 43.2 by 2026. The last note, the very important aspect is around sustainable finance. So that is the number which world is really looking at today. That is looking at almost about $23,000 billion by 2030. So that's a number what we are really looking as an opportunity. And we are all geared up for it.
Thank you, Sandeep. The market potential does look huge, and I think we certainly have to have sustainability in every discussion or every important decision that we are going to take. Thank you for that. Let's move ahead now to understand the investments that we are really looking at in each respective domain that you've talked about, and how it will really impact the go-forward journey of the emerging technologies that we've just talked about. So starting with you, Kunal, if you can share some insight on the key areas where we are looking to invest under your wide array of offerings and solutions, and how are we creating a differentiation in the digital business as per that?
Sure, Shilpa. And I think that defined the challenge quite well, that when you have a wide array of offerings and solutions that you take to a customer, you also need to ensure that in the delivery or execution side, we kind of bring it together to create simplicity of execution, as Manish mentioned, and therefore the customer can then have enterprise agility. So therefore our investments, deep investments in building solutions, is across 2 axes. Axis number 1 is what we discussed a few minutes back, which is solutions that tackle a business problem, whether it is using AI to solve a certain amount of business model challenges, or using cybersecurity solutions to make the enterprise more secure. Axis number 2, however, is how do we bring all of these together in a delivery framework, in an execution framework that helps enterprises not just reimagine their new business processes to delivering them at scale, managing platforms at scale, and not only that, removing redundancy and redundant processes to cut costs, make IT technology more leaner for the enterprise. So we created this framework which helps us look at enterprises and opportunities across 2 axes. Axis number 1 is the ability of the customer to be innovative versus looking at it from a standardization of processes perspective. So is an enterprise more innovative, more agile? How frequently are they looking at new ideas versus are they looking at scale, standardization, globalization? And the second axis was how frequently do they release products to market? Are they doing it every week, every fortnight, every month, versus they are looking at a quarterly, 6-monthly release? Based on that, we've created solutions that enable them to either do fast prototyping through our Makers Lab, that helps them form a view of what's coming new, what could be tested. It doesn't necessarily go into production, but it kind of helps them understand the power of new technology to solve complex problems. And from there on, you kind of build agile platforms to help business processes or enterprise to scale globally. And last but not the least, the ability to merge IT, merge redundant processes, and make IT more leaner through automation, through better quality control and things like that. So this framework helps us bring all of this together. It also manifests itself in training our people, our engineers, to understand what phase of the application or platform lifecycle, development lifecycle do they participate in, and therefore what should be the approach to empathizing on the customer problem statement. And this helped us, improve customer satisfaction levels by 20% year on year. It helps us bring more enterprise agility, and therefore we continue to invest in not just the solutions, but also the framework to deliver tools to deliver faster and enable better collaboration across the enterprise, the squads, and the teams that work together.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Kunal. This seems to be the go-forward framework that we will just continue to execute. Biren, over to you. Would you like to share some insights on the investments that you're looking to do as you continue the wonderful success journey that you've been, witnessing?
Yeah, sure, Shilpa. So I think the journey continues in terms of diversification. So earlier in the day, I mentioned I've got 3 verticals of scale above 100 million run rate. Two which, if you look at the addressable market, they are almost 40% of the BPO addressable market, which is banking, financial services, and healthcare. I'm pleased to, share that we've, over this fiscal, we've won a large deal in each one of those verticals. So I'm going to continue to diversify and invest in those. But at the same time, one of the key opportunities we are seeing is productization of services. So the same service line being provided to multiple customers across multiple verticals, and we are creating products out of that so that we can deploy it at scale, at speed, as well as deliver it efficiently for customers with much more predictable outcomes, right? Generative AI, I think I see 2 big opportunities for us, and that has already hit our pipeline as well as what we are converting already. One is that all the partners on the conversation tech side, are adopting large language models. We help our customers implement those platforms, and so that opportunity is coming as more and more customers adopt large language models. ChatGPT could be one of them. There are multiple others. And the second one is, with the excitement around ChatGPT, all generative AI companies actually have sped up investments as well as their targets for go-to-market. And that means the bots need to be trained quite a lot. They need to be trained. They need to be moderated, they need to be safe to consume, they need to give the right answers. And that's a human-in-the-loop process, which again is already a part of our operation and growing fairly fast. I just want to share that we've been doing that for 2 years, but just that the acceleration in the market is quite huge, and we want to bank in on that. Data operations, I touched a little bit about that, but say for example, whether it is building the metaverse or launching new products or services, data from users is becoming a very key ingredient to how do enterprises improve their services and products. And so we have a large data practice, and I'm aiming to actually make sure that we lead with that, particularly with customers on the West Coast. And finally, Manish spoke about Yantra.ai. That's just one of the examples of the BPaaS kind of solutions that we are taking to market, where we're first putting a platform or machine to solve a business problem, which is business outcomes for customers, but using machines. And then if there is a service at the end of that is offered as a bundle, on a consumption basis to our customers. You'll see more of that coming in, and that's where the investments are going. I think the general theme, even in the BPS business, is about how do we generate non-linearity and not link it to the number of people we have, but at the same time go after picks and shovels and really use speed as a differentiator, because that's what customers are looking for. Shilpa, hopefully that answers your question.
That's absolutely interesting, and acceleration and speed seems to be the mantra after the yantra, is what I can say. Great, thank you, Biren. Sandeep, over to you. If you can share, you did address the markets that we are looking at from sustainability perspective. What kind of investments are we really looking at when we continue to build the momentum around this?
So what we exactly did was that we looked at what could be the future aspects of ESG. Okay, I mentioned about SFDR, the EU regulations becoming very mandated, BRSR very important. Most of the companies in India are still looking for a platforms or how the data would be collated, how the data will be reported. In fact, most of the CFOs and specifically the company secretaries are the ones who are really getting impacted by this one. So for that, what we thought was a platform like iSustain, which Manish also mentioned in his presentation today. So that we thought was a major one. Now that platform is going to capture the ESG data, do the reporting. It will be used for net zero data modeling. It will be used for sensitivity analysis. It will be used for scenario planning. So it will be an end-to-end tool for ESG for a particular company. The second other aspect, which was really coming from a regulatory perspective, is around climate risks. There's a framework called TCFD, Task Force on Climate Disclosures. The risks which are coming for a company, those have to be disclosed for a company in a way where the strategy will become an important aspect. So what we have done is that we have thought this well through, and this I.Riskman, which we'll be launching in next 2 quarters, would look at the ESG aspect and how it will impact the strategy of a company. And this will not only look at risks, it will also see that what are the probability of the risk, how those will be mitigated, and also what will be the financial impacts of those risks. I just mentioned in the start that the addressable market for sustainable finance is huge. But today, the platforms which are available for monitoring them end-to-end are negligible or are not there. So we have started that development, and that should be ready by next this year end quarter. And this platform will help the banks, the leading finance agencies, to do the end-to-end monitoring of green finance. That is the most important aspect. Before I end, Shilpa, what I'm really going to mention here is that today's digital, within next 2 years, is going to be the ESG. Today we are speaking about digital. In next 2 years, you'll be speaking about ESG. Thank you.
Great. That was quite insightful and almost like an eye-opener. Making robust platforms is going to be the way forward, and that's where the investment is going to be, Sandeep looks like. Thank you. Mark, over to you if you want to share the experiences around XDS that are going to be the go forward and the markets around it, and also if there are any investments or our focus that we will be doing.
Sure, no, thanks, Shilpa. I think from our side, I actually wanted to show some examples actually of our work, and this is where I think it was mentioned earlier this morning in terms of digital, physical to digital. I think this example here is where we've actually taken from quite a famous luxury brand, and they wanted to take an experience that was in store that they've been doing for over 100 years, and it was essentially for someone to go in and choose and buy an engagement ring. They could choose the metals, the material. They could learn about diamonds and the educational part, which is the 4 C's that make up a diamond, which is cut and clarity. And I think what we did here is take that physical experience, and we recreated this online. And I think they really push us as a business or Born XDS to be innovative as much as we can. I think this really allowed us to create this amazing experience for someone to go in, select, choose, and really enjoy it. And I think the next one here is again where I talked a bit earlier about hyper-personalization, and this is an example where a lot of brands now are actually having to change their product in terms of manufacturing. So you can see here, you can select typical colors. It could be a strap, and here we're actually taking that next level, which is the hyper-personalization part, where you can actually go into engraving. So it means that you can really do personalization, I think, online in a really lovely, engaging way that you would have as you walked into the store. And I think things like you can see here in terms of the imagery and the rendering, this is the content. 5-10 years ago you couldn't do this, and I think now we're seeing technology where we can recreate products and imagery in such an immersive and informative way. Okay.
That's wonderful. The personalization does seem very interesting, and almost the day-to-day products that we are going to use are going to be personalized, looks like, going forward. Thank you. Lastly, Manish, over to you to really understand the kind of investments, given our 5G journey, the market where we are headed. Would be great to know what kind of investments are we looking at.
Certainly, Shilpa. I discussed earlier on the 3 priorities for the CXOs, and what we are doing. We invest in 3 things as well. We invest in human capital, we invest in partnerships, and we invest in platforms that makes life easier and solutions available for our customers. And we are directing our investments into solving these 3 priorities for the customers. In simplifying, we are really looking to help them shut down the legacy that they have been created for the long period of time. So we still have a legacy systems that are sitting into infrastructures that actually need to get out and make way for operating life cycle to be much simpler. So that's one of the areas where we focus on. Second area is really around operations, where knock, SOC, plan, design, build the entire life cycle of the network to really make that automation centric and less people centric, so that the agility of building new technology, what we are calling is the ideation to consumption from a customer perspective. An idea gets created somewhere, but by the time it gets consumed by the customer or the end consumer, we need to reduce and shrink that life cycle from 3 years typically, which is what the telco is, to few months. And that's what we really focus on when we talk about simplifying. Modernization is really bringing in the new technologies, Open RAN, cloudification with a lot of cloud partners, bringing in the predictive AI and more tech stack that actually drives the new technology stack in the industry. So we are investing in that area to create that capability to help our customers rapidly modernize the tech stack. And the third is really monetization, which take these capabilities of 5G and enable variety of industry-specific use cases so that the new industries can be created, new revenue opportunities can be created. And we find ourselves at the front and center of that world because of our expertise, both with enterprises where we are very heavily engaged in their digital and business transformation, and at the same time we are engaged in their network transformation. So bringing IT and OT together, we find ourselves in a very sweet spot to help our customers monetize, which are the CSPs as well as enterprises. So I think if you look at how we are investing, we have invested into a platform called NetOps.ai, which really enables the end-to-end life cycle of a network from plan, design, build, operate, maintain, and run it on a day-to-day basis, make it very easy, nimble, so that it not only drives the cost out of a network, but also it helps take that smaller footprint, more nimble, more agile network towards the enterprises, give them a Wi-Fi-like experience, but build an open architecture on which variety of new use cases can be created. And that's where we are excited about. We believe we have the most comprehensive set of offerings in the market, and this is what we have been working on. And the growth that we have seen this year and the last couple of years is a testimony of our investments into these offerings have been in the right place, and we continue to look forward to do that in this year as well.
Great. Great. Thank you so much, Manish, for giving these wonderful insights on investments, one of our key areas, of course. This brings an end to our panel discussion here today, and it was absolutely interesting and thrilling to know the key areas that the market is moving towards, as well as the investments that we are really looking to do as we move forward in our journey for Rise and Beyond. I hope all of you got a very good insight into the detailing that the gentlemen have presented here, and hope that this gives you a complete understanding of our journey in our emerging technologies beyond now and the next year. Thank you so much.